Welcome back to another video. Today is just going to be a quick video, just a little vlog where I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of work on the Celica. I'm just going to see if I can sort the front brakes. I've already done the back brakes, did that off camera. They were, to be honest, they were a real pain in the arse. All the sliders were completely solid, so I had to free all that up. There was a lot of swearing involved, a lot of grease, a lot of WD-40 and GTA5 just to actually free up the sliders. So I didn't want to actually have that on camera because probably have to put an X-rated on it with all the amount of language. So it's just going to be showing you what I've done, and then I'll be doing the front brakes because I know the driver's side front is actually sticking on. Because we went out last night just to see an old Arnold Schwarzenegger film, Commando from 1985. There's a rerun at the cinema, Cineworld, our local Cineworld. It was great actually just to step back in time and watch an old action flick. And on the way back, the brake was red hot on that side, so it's obviously sticking on. So I may have warped that disc a little bit, but I've only got pads for now, so I'm just going to change the pads over, try and free up the sliders and see if that makes a difference. Anyway, I'm waffling on about all this and I'm not showing you anything, so we'll go outside, get the car up in the air and take the wheels off, and we'll have a look at the damage. So it's actually a beautiful day today for a change. No wind, nice and warm. It's been freezing cold here for quite a while now. I think spring is actually here. Right, so I've got myself the obligatory cup of tea. I've got the wheel nuts loosened off, got the jack and an axle stand, so I'm going to jack it up in a minute. I'm just going to have a quick inspection, and it looks like the pads, if you can see there, are quite thin. There's a lot of dust, and the other side hasn't got as much dust at all, so it definitely has been sticking on, and it smelt like a clutch because I thought the clutch was going actually when I first got home, because I could smell, you know, the horrible clutch smell. I think it's definitely the brake pads because this was wheel and brake disc was actually red hot, and the other side was quite cool. So yeah, it's definitely past its due date, I think, for new pads. Just hope I don't have the same problems I had with the rear, with the sliders all been solid and rusted in, which probably are. The only problem is it's a daily driving now, but it doesn't get driven daily. I probably drive it once, maybe twice a week now, because I work from home all the time. So I think with it being stud, things start going wrong. Right, anyway, putting off the inevitable. Let's get the car up in the air and get the wheel off. So that actually came off really easy. The sliders actually aren't, so you can see that, sorry if I can, get around the actual sun. Let me just go to the shade a little bit, there we go. See the sliders there aren't too bad, they're moving about quite nicely. I'll probably strip them all down and wire brush them and clean them all up. And the front, the top one as well, is pretty good. But the actual plunger itself, or the piston itself, looks like it's been on the Titanic. So I think that's probably what the problem is, that's sticking and not going back. So I'll see if I can clean this up a little bit. If I can push it out a little bit, maybe put a block of wood in here, push it out a little bit, and see if I can clean that edge up a little bit with bit of wet and dry. I need to do what I did on the Nissan really and strip them all down, get a complete rebuild kit, so I think that's another job on the agenda. Plus, well, you can know there's quite a bit of rust coming through here and there, so Lanagard's going to have to be ordered, I think, definitely. And the front subframe looks like that's pretty much on its way out to being knackered. Anti-roll bar as well, I might get away with that being powder coated. But for nearly 200,000 miles, I don't think it's doing too bad, to be honest. And it's what, 16, 17 years old now? I think it's all shot as well. I'll clean all this up. I'll give it a good power wash underneath as well, I think, when I've finished pissing about with the brakes. The discs seem alright. Pads, outside pad, not too bad. Bit of correctly. There's nowhere on the inner edge, on the outer edge here, and the inner edge here. So it could be, that's where it was causing the problem. So I know it's the bearing. I don't think it'd be the bearing, would it? No, I'm not getting any bearing noise. I'm sure you get bearing noise if it was... No, it's definitely brakes. You could smell the actual brakes. I'm just getting paranoid. Right, so I think I'm going to start cleaning all this up. Stripping it all down and re-greasing and wire brushing. Get as clean and as nice as possible. Yeah, see here. It's just surface rust, I think. So long ago maybe they'll fix that. I think it may be time to invest in some new ones or some reconditioned ones, especially with the subframe. I've got to do the rear subframe as well. I'm just not looking forward to actually removing the bolts. Maybe soak them for a week or so in penetrating fluid, etc., just to try and get it to release. Yeah, you can see that there. Pretty rusty. Okay, right. I'll start cleaning all this up and catch up with you in a bit. Right, just a little update. As you can see, I managed to push the piston out. This was completely seized solid. I used my brake caliper installation and removal tool. Well, not removal, just installation. Just to try and push it in and out, and then I used the brake pedal and held it there, block of wood, just to stop it from popping all the way out. And it seems to have eased up a little bit, but what I am going to do, I think, is get some 1500 and just polish this up as best I can, because I think that's what's causing the actual problem. This piston's actually sticking. So I am actually going to have to try and get a rebuild kit, I think. Take the calipers off and get them on the bench and do a complete rebuild, similar to what I did to the Nissan. You can see that video on the channel, just going to the Nissan projects brake rebuild, and it's all in there, how I rebuilt the calipers. The pads are fitted really nicely. I cleaned the clips up with some thinners, just a little wire brush, a pot of thinners here, oh, spilled it, and a wire brush, just to get some of the actual brake dust and stuff on. Grease the actual ends of the actual brake pads here, just so they slide in nicely. But they fitted lovely, so that's really nice. So definitely the problem is this piston. So what I do now is, like I said, get 1500, just polish it up as best I can, make it all nice and smooth, and then later in the year I'll get a rebuild kit and strip it all off and complete full brake service. But I have got to do the brake pipes as well for the next MOT. The front ones aren't too bad. Sorry, here needs definitely needs new flexi hoses, so I might get some new ones of those. I'll probably just go standard rubber. I'm not going to go braided like I have on the Nissan. Well, I might do. Anyway, see, I'll cost it up and see what the prices are like. On the brake, the actual brake, the hard brake pipe clamp has actually come away from the body. I did a little YouTube short on it, so I'll put that in here somewhere so you can have a look. And as you can see, the actual clamp has rusted away from the body, so I'm going to have to strip all that back and probably make a new clamp and weld it all in. So that's got to be done before the next MOT, and I've got to replace the brake pipes as well because they're all rusted. So I'm going to go for copper, like I did on the Nissan, just do copper all the way through. They're nice and easy to do. So I'll get the wet and dry out and start buffing this up then now. So after about 10 minutes, that's come up a lot nicer. That's just with a little bit of 1200 and 1500 gone all the way round. Just use a little bit of glass cleaner as a lubricant, mint chocolate flavour. So now I'm going to push the piston back in. Hopefully that should slide in a lot easier than before, because it was really quite stiff. And then I should be able to just put it back together. I know in an ideal world I should take the piston out because it might even have a little bit of rust up here, but the majority of it was here and around the top. So I managed to actually get underneath and clean it out with the emery paper, wet and dry. So feels quite nice now. There's just a little scarring here and there, but hopefully that should free it up and stop it from sticking, because that's usually what happens. But like I say, I will get a rebuild kit in the coming months and redo all this off the car as well on the bench, paint all the calipers up like I did with the Nissan and make them all look pretty. So I'm going to put this back in, see if I can get it back together, and I'll see you in a bit. That went in so much easier, hardly any force needed at all, just to push that back in. Before it was really stiff, almost solid. So hopefully that has fixed that problem. So now, get this all rebuilt. I've put new grease on the sliders, on the bolts, taken those out, give them a quick wire brush and greased them all up. So hopefully that's fixed this side, and I've just got to do the other side. But I don't think that's as bad, it says, hopefully. All back together, seems to be nice and smooth now. I am going to give it a clean under here as well before I put the wheel back on. I'll just give it a power wash and a clean all the plastics up, etc. So now I'll go around the other side, take the wheel off and start all over again. So there's the part number for the actual brake pads, if anybody's interested. Got these off of Eurocar Parts, not the cheapest place, but their service is next day, so that's why I got them. Yeah, pretty good. It's got the actual anti-squeal shims actually built into the pads as well. These are for the bigger brakes, which is on the 2ZZFE and the 1ZZ after, I think it's 02. You got the bigger brakes. If you've got one pre-facelift, then it's a different pad and a different number. I think they're slightly smaller brakes, but this is for the bigger one, so they're for reference. So this side has been pretty straightforward, except for this pin. I don't know if you can see, I'm just getting to the shade. You can see with the actual, I should say slider, not pin, the actual rubber seal is actually seized on to the actual pin there, and it was a real pig to get out. So this is definitely have to be a good wire brush, maybe again a wet flat to actually polish it up a little bit, see if I can actually get the seal to come off, because it actually presses into the actual brake itself or the caliper itself, and then that slides on that seal, but it's completely solid. So I'm going to wire brush it, soak it in some WD, I think, some rust remover, and see if I can get that to free up, and then I'll polish it and put it back in. I think that's probably the problem on that side. I think it's because the car's actually just been stood out in the wet all the time as well. We've had quite a wet spring, so hopefully this will cure it and the brakes will work properly. Right, I've spent probably about half an hour on this and give it a good clean and a bit of a wet flat polish. But it is a little bit pitted still, so it does need replacing, because this will just cause drag eventually. But I'll coat it with copper grease up to make sure it's all okay, and slides in there alright. Also the rubber, cleaned up the, I'm just going to focus, cleaned up the actual lip a little bit there, so that should hopefully sit back in the caliper. It should hopefully stop it from sticking. And that's this side done, all back together. Sliders are all nice and free now. But like I say, I'm going to actually get a full rebuild kit, get new sliders, new rubbers, new pistons, a whole shebang really. And then I'll strip them all off and redo it properly. So now I'm going to put all my tools away, and I'm going to give it a good power wash underneath. See what sort of shape we're in underneath. A little bit rusty stain was the other side, but hopefully that's just surface rust. So I might even treat all this and Gravtex it, or bed liner it to make it all nice and fresh under here. I think that might be quite a nice little job to do. I'd love to get some coilovers as well, because these were quite good coils. I fitted these probably 2020. I'm starting to rust already, which is a bit annoying. Well, not too bad, I suppose. These are just the lowering springs. I think it's 30mm. New rubbers I could do with as well. They're all perishing. They're all gone in there as well, the old thingies. So I might even get some coilovers at some point. I may even just get a set of max speeding rods jobs. They're getting good reviews now. They're newer sets. If anybody's used them, drop me a comment below. Tell me what they're like, if they're too harsh a ride. This is a harsh ride anyway. It always has been, even with the standard suspension. It's quite a hard ride, but I'm not too bothered as long as it handles all right, you know, and it's got that sort of longevity without rust. I'm fighting rust all the time. I mean, I have to do a full resto on this like I did with the Nissan. It's going to have to be something that's going to have to be looked at sooner than later, I think. Anyway, pour my tools away and then I'll give it a power wash underneath. All cleaned up, much nicer under there now. It all needs doing properly with Lanagard really. This is just silicone spray, back to black. Missed a bit there. Just pretties it up a little bit, keep some of the actual moisture out, but I will probably invest in the Lanagard. Or like I said before, do I do it with bed liner? Not sure. Drop me a comment below if you've done it with bed liner or if you've actually used the Lanagard. I've only used it on the rear little bits, but it's okay. It's going to keep all this stuff at bay here, stop it from getting any worse. Which they say it does, but I'm not so sure yet. Okay, so now I'm going to get the wheels back on, just giving them a bit of a clean and a polish, and then job done. So that little job's done. It's taken me pretty much all day. But it wasn't too bad, not too difficult. I took my time with it and just used plenty of penetrating fluid to loosen the bolts off, etc. But yeah, all the brakes, front and rear now, are all fully serviced, working as they should. I've just been up and down the lane here, just here, private road of course, and done a few tests with the old brakes, and they seem to be working perfect now. So the next thing I've got to do is a spark plug and an oil filter change, just basic service. I might do that in a vlog. That'll probably be coming up in a couple of days. It's just a basic service, but the brakes are all nice now, lovely. See a dent there in the rear quarter, a tiny little dent. It's a bit annoying. Anyway, hope you've liked this vlog. If you have, drop me a comment below. Don't forget to like the video as well. Comment and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe, because I'm nearly at 1,000 subscribers. And I'll see you in the next video. It's a red kite, by the way.